Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Vetiva Capital Management and our media partners at T Africa Reports, I would like to thank you for joining us on our breakfast meeting at the start of this new week. It is Monday, the 10th of May, 2021. Our meeting is set to last for 30 minutes and is being broadcast live on our Vetiva online page on Facebook. The meeting is also being recorded and the audio file may be shared with third parties. On our agenda today, we will start off with the equity and fixed income space for Nigeria with our traders Shehu and Omorige, after which we will move to our guests today from IC Securities Ghana, Johnson and Daniel, who will be talking about the equity and fixed income space for their market, and we will conclude with our media partners with their own updates. We will now start off with Sean for the equity space. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Chidoze, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll be reviewing the performance of the BRVM market and the Nigerian stock market. But we'll start off with BRVM. The BRVM recovered from previous day's loss to close significantly higher by 1.72% on the last trading session of last week. It was a generally positive market with volume and value improving by 100 and 245% respectively. Market breadth was also positive with 14 gainers and 10 losers as Solibra as well as Nestle Cote d'Ivoire were the best performing stock on the day. The weekly return was also positive with a 2.53% gain for an overall year-to-date gain of 6.06%. So generally, it was a positive session that was experienced last week. Apart from the one day where the market lost on Thursday, every other day was a green close. So going into the new week, we expect positive sentiment to persist in the market as investors continue to show positive reaction towards recently released corporate earnings. Though basically the driver in that market is the better than expected corporate earnings that we've seen from newly released results. So we expect the reaction to continue to be positive. Nestle as well as Nestle Cote d'Ivoire has been one of the major names there, and we believe they will continue to move. That's why we'll continue to push higher for new highs. So moving into Nigeria, the index ended the week on a green note on Friday as the benchmark index improved by 21 bips. We saw renewed interest in the banking names, sustained with we saw gains in Zenith, gains in GTB as well as Access, which all pushed the index higher. Surplus for the second consecutive session was lifted. Was lifted above 900 to close 258 bips higher. The major losers in this session were actually across sectors. We saw Guinness in the consumer goods space, UB as well in the banks, as well as WAPCO in the industrial goods sector. For sectoral performances, it was pretty mixed. We saw three sectors appreciating while two closed down, with WAPCO contributing to the loss we saw in the industrial goods sector. Activity level declined in the session. We saw 40 and 39% decline in both the volume and value that were traded. Also, looking at a review of the weekly performance, it showed a mixed sectoral performance with banking, consumer goods, and oil and gas recording week-on-week gains, while consumer goods largely on the back of while industrial goods, on the back of losses we saw in Dancing and WAPCO, all closing lower, as well as the insurance sector. And this loss actually filtered into the weekly return of the index, which closed negative 1.61%, though we saw a gain on Friday, which is the last day of the week. Just to mention to some company news, we saw Fitch announced over the weekend that it affirms the B negative rating on FBN, as it believes the recent issues of corporate governance will not necessarily affect the asset quality and the performance of the firm going forward. So we believe this is some sort of positive for FBN, though even when the news came out of the issue with CBN, we saw just one day of negative close. Then investors had already factor this into the valuation of the company, and that day we didn't see so much sell-offs in the name after just that one initial one day. So moving into the new week, we expect similar pattern from the previous week, as market will likely see a mixed performance, with cherry picking on some of the losers in the past sessions, while short-term investors will likely take profit from names we have seen some decent upside in lately. Also, with the rates in fixed income market still looking healthy, we will see we believe we'll see retail investors continue to favor that market over the equities market. So generally, we will expect a mixed market with some cherry picking as well as some sell-off in different names. That'll be it for the equities market. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So today we have our polling question that's going on right now, and it's on the vaccination, and it's asking, have you taken any COVID vaccine so far? So over the course of the meeting, we would like you to help us complete the poll. Thank you. We will now move to Omorige for fixed income. Good morning, Omorige.
Good morning, Chidozie. Good morning, everybody. I'll be starting on the money market. Despite the significant improvement we saw in system liquidity on Friday, the money market is still very liquid. Opening figures for Friday was around 60 billion positive. When we adjusted for repos, market was about 5 billion short, coming from the 167 billion negative we saw on Thursday. As a result of the improvement in system liquidity, money rate declined slightly to trade around 14% levels. This is about 10 basis points from the 15% levels recorded on Thursday. We expect the money market to trade at slightly lower levels today, barring any significant change to system liquidity. Moving on to the FS market, the parallel market gained 2 naira to trade at around 483 naira to a dollar on Friday, and in window traded at a high of 437.41 naira to a dollar, closing at 410.33 naira to a dollar. That's a 67 kobo appreciation from where it closed on Thursday, which was 411 naira to a dollar. Yesterday, on Friday, an industry turnover increased significantly to $146.52 million, coming from $106.34 million recorded on Thursday. We maintain our outlook for the naira. It will continue to hover around these levels, barring any significant inflow of FS into the system. Moving on to the Tbs market. The Tbs market closed last week on a very quiet note on the back of paucity of securities in that space. There were offers on the long end of the OMO curve, mostly on March 15, 2022 at above 9% levels, but bids in the market were majorly on the long-dated NTB papers, mostly April 14, 2022 and April 28, 2022. Offers seen on that end were around 8.1% levels. We also saw offers on the mid-dated NTB papers, particularly the September papers, at around 3.6 levels. Overall, a few trades were consummated across the benchmark curve, because of the disparity between the bids and the offers seen across the board. We expect the Tbs market to trade on a more active note today as players take strategic decisions and positions ahead of the NTB auction that is slated for Wednesday. I'll conclude with the bonds market. The bonds market closed last week on a bearish note. We saw offers on the mid-dated papers, especially the 2035 and the 2037 at 13.92% and 13.93% respectively. However, best and interest was majorly on the long-dated maturity, that's the 2045 maturity, and this was initially offered at around 14.05% levels, but gradually improved and finally got to 14.15% levels during the closing hours of Friday's trading session. Some trades were consummated on that end at around 14.15% levels. We expect this current sentiment in the bond space to persist in today's trading session and meaning the entire system liquidity. That concludes it for
Thank you. Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Morgan. We will now move to Johnson from IC Securities for the equity market. Good morning, Johnson.
Hi, I think Johnson's mic had a problem, so I'll take over both the equity market and the fixed income markets from Ghana.
Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, so I'll start with the equities market. The Ghana stock market maintained its positive performance for the week ended 7th May 2021, driven by 6 gainers and no losers. GGBL led the pack of gainers, advancing by 30 pesos to 1 cedi 29 pesos on the day. This was followed by GCB, MTN Ghana, SCB, FML, and SOGDEN, which gained 20 pesos, 10 pesos, 4 pesos, 4 pesos, and 3 pesos respectively. This pushed the benchmark indices on the Ghana Stock Exchange to higher levels, with the GSE CI increasing by 134.31 points to close with a year-to-date return of 38.84%. MTN Ghana continued to dominate trading sessions, contributing 93.1% of the 20.9 million Ghana cedis traded value for the period under review. We tip market participants to make a final play at MTN Ghana ahead of its ex-dividend date of 12th May 2021. We also expect demand to continue to outstrip available supply in selected stocks, including FML, GGBL, EGL, SOGDEN, as investors look to take information-backed position in the names. With the fixed income, I will start from the local treasury bill auction. For the second consecutive time, government of Ghana was unable to raise its target amount at the weekly treasury bill auction for 91 and 182 days. Government raised 913 million Ghana cedis, which was 80% of the target amount for 91 and 182-day bills. The 91-day bill dropped by 5 basis points from the previous week's auction, while the 182-day bill went up by 4 basis points. However, when we take year-to-date in review, the 91-day bill has dropped by a whopping 130 basis points, while the 182-day bill has also reduced by 57 basis points. This is on the back of improved liquidity from the beginning of the year that Ghana has experienced. On the local currency bond market, the secondary market was fairly active on Friday, with trades seen from the front end to the belly of the curve to cap off the week. January 22s continued to see interest as it traded at 16.3% levels in decent sizes, Additionally, 26 papers dealt in the range of 18.43 and 18.75 range, while 27 traded around 19.10%. We expect to see activity across the curve this week as market participants await auction announcements from government as stated in the Q2 issuers calendar. And finally, on international market, the release of the US non-farm payroll data did not have much effect on Ghana's papers, as activity in these papers were relatively quiet last week compared to other frontier sub-Saharan African bonds. Few selling interests were seen in the belly earlier in the week, but these losses were reversed in Friday's session as they gained between positive 0.125 to positive 0.25 percentage points. However, the front end and the long end of the curve were muted on the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. We will now conclude with Temple from Frontier Africa Reports and their update. Good morning, Temple.
Good morning and welcome to a new week all. So we know that in Kenya, there's a new new finance bill for the year 2021 that has just been introduced. That's something that everyone is digesting. We do hope we'll be able to launch some more update on that before this week runs out. The Central Bank of Kenya has also just appointed the Kenya Deposits Insurance Corporation to liquidate Charterhouse Bank Limited. This is one bank that seemed to have been having some issues back to back. They've at one point been placed on statutory management of the bank due to lending inaccuracies and account documentation. So at this point in time, there was a report that was carried out after an investigation was launched, and the part of the recommendation of that report is that they should go ahead and just liquidate the Charterhouse Bank of Kenya. Somalia, we all know, has had a bit of a half-year severance of ties now with Kenya in the past 6 months. Now they've restored the relations with Kenya, and of course that tension was basically over the ownership of some potential oil and gas deposits lying off the coastal city of Jubaland, which is one of the semi-autonomous states in Somalia. Now they've restored the bilateral ties with Kenya, and folks are hoping that that will lead to some sort of investment opportunities again between both countries, and they'll be able to live peacefully. Ethiopia, given the digitization of its government program that it has embarked upon, has now secured some $200 million loan from World Bank, and it is expected that that will help them pursue that program to the end. Across the southern part of Africa, key for us is that Afreximbank has now approved some 200 million rands for the titanium dioxide plants that Nyaza Light Metals has been carrying out lately. That fund is expected to help them fast track the engineering work and, of course, see to the completion of the phase 1, and that's over the next 10 months to 12 months or so. It's also to help them get to the phase 2 and phase 3, and of course, basically carry on with the project, which is around the Richards Bay area of South Africa, the industrial development zone in that area. We know that Moody's Investor Service is expected to release its rating on South Africa soon. Rand Merchant Bank has been making a projection. They're not expecting anything different from what Moody's had placed or had announced sometimes ago for South Africa. They placed Moody's had actually placed South Africa on the BA2 negative outlook, with the foreign currency deposit status remaining the same. So a lot of analysts across South Africa are not expecting that to change at all, at least for now, given the whole COVID-19 effects and investor sentiment across the macroeconomic at this point in time. Finally, the northern part of Africa, where the Egyptian Stock Exchange has now launched a new bonds trading system, and it was launched in collaboration with the Central Bank of Egypt and the Ministry of Finance. We understand that that will help enhance price discovery or pricing information, supply and demand information for the yield curve, and a couple of other features there. Thank you for listening. These are the stories and headlines we have.
Thank you, Temple. We have now come to the question and answer portion of the meeting. If you would like to speak, you may use the raise your hand function on the app and we will give you an opportunity to speak or and ask your question, or you may use the comment function or the Q&A box and we will treat your question as well. And for those joining us on Facebook, you may use the comment option and we will treat your question. Thank you. I see that we have no questions. If at any point during the day you do think of a question, you may reach out to us at research@vetiva.com and we will respond to you as quickly as possible. We would like to thank everyone for joining us today. We would also like to thank our guests from IC Security, Daniel and Johnson, for joining us today. We continue to encourage everyone to keep safe. We hope everyone has a good day, and we look forward to having you join us again tomorrow at 8:30. Thank you.